Video makes up a huge amount of internet content these days, so it would be great to understand how to include a video on your web page. There's a video element. And just like the image element, you need to tell it where the video is that you want to show. To do this, we use the source attribute. In my assets folder, I have a video called Butterfly. Now if I save this file, we'll see the video appear in the browser on the right. However, it doesn't actually play, and there's nothing to make it play. There's no controls. To show the controls to the video element, we need another attribute, the controls attribute. Now this is slightly different from other attributes that we've seen already. It's called a Boolean attribute, and there are a few of them in HTML. This means that the attribute can only be true or false, although we don't set it to be true or false. It just means that if you include it, it is true, and if you don't, it's in false. There's a couple of ways that you can include it. The first one is to type it and you put the same parameter as the name of the attribute. So controls is the name of the attribute and the parameter is controls as well. This means because we've included it, controls is set to true. And as you can see, now the video has controls. There's a couple of other ways to include Boolean attributes like this. We don't actually have to set anything within the parameter at all, and it would still be set to true. You can go even simpler than that and just write controls because it's a Boolean. Remember, you can only do this for Boolean attributes. This doesn't work for other attributes where you have to set a specific parameter. So now we have controls and we can play our video. There's a couple of other useful attributes for the video element. There's actually a lot of attributes for the video element, and there's a link to read through them in the resources. Another useful one, which is also a Boolean attribute, so we can just write it, is autoplay. This means that the video will autoplay when we load the page. This may or may not be something that you actually want to happen. Be careful of UX when using this attribute. There's a loop attribute as well. This means that when the video gets to the end of playing, it will go straight back to the beginning. Another interesting attribute for the video element is the poster attribute. This allows to specify an image to show when the page loads. A good thing to capture the contents of the video if the first frame of the video isn't particularly interesting. In my assets folder, I have an image of a frame of the video. It's called butterfly.png. I can use the poster attribute to specify this image. So I'm putting in the URL of this image just like I would in the source attribute. This means when the page loads, I've now got a different image being shown for the video. There's one more thing to mention about the video element. At the moment, it's a lot like the image element in that we're using the source attribute to load the video file. However, there's a chance you'll have multiple types of video file, as there's lots of different codecs for compressing video. And you can use different file formats, like MP4, AVI, or WebM. We can expand the video element to allow for the browser to load the most appropriate format, as some browsers don't support some formats. Instead of writing one source attribute, we'll give each source attribute their own element within this video element. So if I get rid of this attribute, we'll keep controls and the poster there, but we will add inside the video element a source element. This takes that source attribute that we did have and also a type attribute to specify what type of file we're loading in. In this case, it's an MP4, so it's video/MPEG. Now this means that we can load another type of video as well if we wanted to. Let's say I had the butterfly video as a WebM type video as well. I could put that source in its own source attribute. Notice how the file type is different here. So my type attribute is going to be different as well. What the browser is going to do is it's going to look at this video element and then find the most appropriate source that it needs to play the video.